Hey guys, Agent Palmer here. I'm the founder of the Conscious Gem Podcast. I'm here to let you guys know that I'm here to kick off the new year with my new podcast episode. Now, my podcast episode is titled Dealing with Your Inner Child. Now, what your inner child is a combination of memories, influences from different events that have transpired in your life, and from different people that have came and influenced you in a number of different ways. Now, this is going to be a combination of how you perceive your self-image, how you perceive your self-esteem, and even the perspective that you have on life and within yourself. Now, I'll be accompanied with a wonderful perspective, Tatiana Ward. She's been a guest before, and I'm really excited to get this thing started with you guys. Now, also, I got some great news. I have my website coming soon, so you'll be able to have these t-shirts available for you guys in all sizes very, very soon. Also, I have fighter tees that you'll be able to purchase on my website, and I can't wait to get you guys into these t-shirts, man. It's gonna be dope. The website will be up soon. I'll let you guys know. Stay tuned, and also continue to be inspired, because I'm inspired to inspire. Protect your peace. Hey guys, I know it's been a long time coming, but you are now tuned in to the Conscious Gems podcast here with the founder, Adrian Palmore. And I got a real special treat for you guys. We will be talking and discussing meeting your inner child. What is your inner child? Defining your inner child, and educating me, myself, and you all on how the inner child works. Now, I'll be accompanied with a wonderful perspective, Tatiana Ward, and yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, what's up, guys? I'm back again with the big homie. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this and want to just get into it.
Great. So I know you guys are all speculating, or people who are not really familiar with what inner child is. What an inner child is this is the echo of who we once were. This is like the combination of your memories, the influences from your environments, events, and even the people around you. So this consists of everything that makes you. So not just the nature aspect of who you are, but the nurturing aspect of who we are. So our inner child is stores memories and the major influences from our lives, from our parents to coaches to teachers to even relatives and people that we look up to. It could even be people from a TV show. It can even be childhood memories that we all hold on to. So that's what it can be. So I know I have an inner child within me that always comes out in different avenues and different times of the day. So but yeah, what do you think inner child means to you? Like, what does inner child really mean to you?
Basically, pretty much everything that you said, but I do feel like we can have multiple inner childs. It just really depends on the situation. At times, if someone is yelling at me, I might just go back to when I was freaking 5 and terrified of my dad yelling at me and not say nothing. Mm-hmm. Or if a female is like talking crazy or reckless, I'm 24, but I might go back to when I was freaking 12 or 11.
Just ratchet.
Just go back to 12 or 11 years old from like all the fucking girls in middle school hating me because I was cool with all the boys. They didn't even know I was looking at their ass. But anyways, like it comes out of you at certain times, and I just feel like it's just something related to trauma, like anything that has been traumatic to you in your life, and if you haven't made peace with that time or that person who you was during that time, like it's going to come back out.
I think that's a great way to look at it and say how it really makes you feel, because truly I feel like there's a lot know how to really like reflect on it or know how to really deal with it. So I think it's a lot of things that we carry on from either past relationships or from our childhood memories, and we go from heal from certain things. So I think it's one of those times, like you said, it's trauma that we all deal with. So I think what inner child to me is like you said, I think piggybacking off of what you said, I feel like me personally, I think it's things that I've dealt with through my past that I've carried on into my adulthood, and I haven't really closed those chapters. But I think it's molded me into the person I am because it comes with pros and cons. So, for instance, it may show why I'm so resilient is because of the past, the childhood trauma I went through with knowing that this is what I had to get through. I had to keep going and pushing because I knew that I didn't want to continue to live like this. But then the cons from that is understanding that, dang, I may look at certain people who are here to help me. I may look at them like, no, the way you could potentially help me, you also have the potential to make me feel vulnerable to the point where I may feel like I need you and I've been let down by so many other people that then I look at it like, nah, I'd rather not take your hand because later on, when you can't take my hand again, you may not be able to take my hand in the fashion that I would want you to. You feel what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a thing where I had to come to terms with it. Then, if people know me like personally, you know, I'm goofy, very very goofy, but I think that's just a part of my character of who I am, with how I grew up, with being surrounded by goofy people. And I mean, we all watch cartoons and stuff like that, but I think that's a part of things that I've always carried with me. Like, one of my, I say, a coping skill or something that I find peace in is watching cartoons. It brings me back to a time where, we didn't have to worry about too many things, like back when
Yeah.
I would have to get on the couch and I could just get me a big butter bowl of cereal and, get my Captain Crunch going. And I just turn on the cartoons from like 8 to like 1 o'clock. We watching dumb cartoons the whole morning. It's no worries, you feel me? It's a Saturday, so we're not doing chores. They just wake up early, the whole house quiet, and we just vibing, watching all the little cartoons, that come up on the morning. And it just take back to a time like, dang, no worries, no nothing. You're not worried about nothing. You're just happy that you ain't in school right now and that you can sleep in a little bit and wake up to watch your cartoons. But
Ain't
I
have
think
to pay no bills.
exactly,
Like,
no bills.
simple.
Yeah, and what I think what we hold on to is when we say hold on to things from the past. I think a lot of people associate that with childhood memories and past trauma through relationships. When everybody always talk about the past, we always talk about relationships, and we always talk about different memories that we remember and how that made us and broke us. Like, for instance, like for me, I know that how I grew up in impoverished neighborhood, and I grew up in poverty, and I knew that, sometimes not really having food, or sometimes not being able to, have AC or have a heat, or not even have sometimes not even a bed to sleep in, or things like that. I knew that part of me was a memory. Like right now, that's a memory, and that's also part of me feeling like I would never want that to be me forever. So I took that upon myself to have it a memory that's a part of who I am today. Because I know, like, I'm gonna continue to keep going how I'm going, so that I don't fall in that cycle that I did back when I was younger. Because it almost is like we'll get a little bit out of poverty there and be standing there, trying to get up out of it. So basically, what I'm saying is, I feel like the main things that we hold on to from when we say past or anything is always childhood memories and past trauma, whether it's from us being a child or even an adolescent. So
Yeah, definitely that. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize like what happens from when we are kids, from the time we eat in mom's stomach, from all the way up to about 6 or 7 years old. It's shaping us to be an adult, and then
yeah, I think so
like
too.
it's shaping us. So usually by the time 7, you can kind of already tell, like, okay, this person gonna be a lot, or this person gonna have to like deal with this or deal with that. Like, you can kind of tell. I just from watching my nieces and nephews, like, okay, this little nigga, he intense. So it kind of lets us know, like, now, like, to get a head start, like, hey,
hmm
we need to discipline a little more. And
What I
when I say discipline, not like, oh, give him whoopings and stuff, but like teach him discipline, like
right.
explain to him what discipline is and act on it, so that way he can know what's what.
I,
Cause ooh, them childhood traumas, boy, I ain't healed all the way, but it's been hard. It's one of the hardest things, like coming to terms with my inner child. And there's many of them, like I said before. And I think the hardest part is being honest, well, and that sucks. Because it's when you got to look in the mirror and you got to be like, okay, I've done this, this, and this, or this, and this happened to me, and this is the role I played in it, and no one ever wants to take accountability like for their actions and stuff, but it's needed in order to like heal and move forward.
I think that's so true. What I also think about is um, how I think we have many different inner child because we fall on different like okay, we fall on different spectrums of perspective of feeling like certain. When I say spectrum, because some people may feel like it's on a spectrum because a lot of perspective may come from being on the outside looking in, on the inside looking out. So I feel like a lot of it sometimes comes down to the fact of it looking like when you're 6, you don't have the same perspective as you do when you're 12. And then you don't have the same perspective as you do when you're 12, when you're 18. So then it's like we have a different perspective. So it makes us feel as though we have different inner childs to combat with. So
Mm-hmm.
like I feel as though like with me and a lot of things you talk about, like, with your nieces and nephews, I feel like there's characteristics that we do have that are like core characteristics. I feel like core characteristics are things that we have that don't really leave. It's like something that happens that you stay with, no matter if you were 8, no matter if you were 12, no matter if you were 19. Like, it's kind of who you are, kind of what like molds your personality around these characteristics. Like for me, I feel like one of my core characteristics or me being like my sense of humor, like how goofy I am. That's kind of one of the things that stand out. Another thing I may think that is my resilience. I feel like it's been the same way since I've like been who I am, and some things may go up or may go down as you get older because there may be some humbling situations that may have shown you, hey, this is not the way to go about certain things. And looking back at some of my notes, um, up to age 6, our brain works at a slow pace because this is a receptive brainwave state, and this leads us to being affected by experiences in a profound way. So a lot of things that we do learn at age 6, it's stored memory. It's things that help shape us to who we are to later on. So a lot of things that happen to us, whether it's learning how to ride a bike, learning things in school, learning how to socialize, those are things that we carry on through when we get older. Like, so that's why we remember these things when we get older, is because it's shaping who we are. It's shaping us to understand, like, oh, I don't like this, so this is how I'm going to act because I don't like that, or I'm gonna stay away from this, or I like that a lot, so I'm gonna go gravitate towards that. So I think that's one of the a big stage in the age group and with the inner child.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree right there because I'm like, ooh, deep. But damn, that's really crazy. It I agree because like I mentioned to you before, um, you know, from that age, from the time we in the stomach all the way up to 6, like we're sponges. So we are learning everything that our parents are teaching us to the best. We're also picking up on other days. It's even more crazy because kids are watching. They're
Yeah,
watching YouTube. YouTube is. I don't want to say it's watching our kids, but dog.
everything is at a click of a button.
Mm-hmm. So it's even worse. So they're finding out stuff like more and more. Like my 6-year-old nephew believes he's supposed to have an iPhone, and somehow I'm supposed to take him to Paris. I'm like, what the hell, nigga? Like, how am I supposed to take you to Paris? But that's because somebody on YouTube he's seen it, so he feels like he's supposed to have this stuff. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. And he's also, I think it's called Jeffy. He's watched this show called Jeffy, and Jeffy doesn't eat carrots. Jeffy doesn't eat broccoli. Jeffy beats his diaper and all this other stuff. So he has learned certain behaviors from that, from when he was like maybe 3 or 4, and he's now 6. And it's
Mm-hmm.
certain things that Jeffy has said and done that he's doing now that he's older. And it's going back to like what you said, like that stuff is sticking to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like a
yeah, yeah,
learned
yeah.
behavior. It's like a
Mhm.
learned behavior that you don't nip in the bud at a certain time. It becomes a habit, and then like I feel like it's certain things you get taught at certain parts, like for instance, like when we're young, we're taught not to steal, not to talk back to adults, to respect elders, things like that. Do clean the house on Sundays. Like certain things were instilled in us at a certain age, so we knew right from wrong at an earlier time, so that we could be respectful when the time presents itself. Because there are situations that arise, and we have to literally act in a certain manner to show we were raised right. You know,
Mhm.
and I think that's with the older, like with the generation before us, with our parents, with how they were raised, it's almost like they pass on what they knew to us. And it's kind I feel like, I talked about this in my previous podcast episodes, as far as like how their parents raised them, how their parents raised our parents. It's like I can only imagine how mental health was stigmatized at that point of time. I feel like it was probably no voice to talk about the magnitude of mental health and how people are affected and who have mental illnesses but can't get the proper treatment, because you either have to pray your way out of it, or there's literally nothing wrong with you, or I'll literally beat this out of you if you feel as though this is something other than normal. And
Mhm.
thinking about this is almost like makes you think that, wow, how was your decision making affected by being nurtured in this fashion? And I feel like we all have made decisions at a subconscious level about how we should and what we should do in order to be seen as okay, but we're also allowed to stay around and survive in our families, friendships, and situations. And with that being said, it's almost like we have to act a certain way so that we seem okay to certain people, because we probably don't put much trust or have much trust in people that are supposed to be there for us in these situations, friendships, and these families. So that's kind of how I view it, because like I feel like everybody has that certain person they'll go to talk about certain things as opposed to other things. I know
Mhm.
if I want to talk about if I want to talk about my MMA stuff, I might go to some of my people that fight at my camp. If I want to talk about something a little bit more personal, I might go to some of my close friends. If I want to talk about some business ventures, I might go to some of my people who talk about stuff more business oriented. It's just who you surround yourself with and things like that. But I know other things that I will not let other people inside. Is if I go through certain things, I may not let certain people know about stuff, because they may give you that response like, dang, that's crazy. And it's almost like they're a fly on the wall, but not the person giving the advice that's needed. So like, a lot of people may need certain things at certain times. Like if I go through something, if I talk to somebody, I'm looking for some way action plan. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for and also feedback, not just a way of how to get it, but also um, an alternative to how to deal with this problem, some proper advice, and also some proper perspective. Now, perspective doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always hurt your feelings as well. But it does help with you understand of seeing things through a different lens when the time needs be. You know, um,
Mhm.
so that's how I feel about that, and how people should be able to feel as far as going about certain things in a certain fashion.
Yeah, definitely. Like piggybacking off of like when you were taught certain things, like a lot of things to where it's like for me in my household, it's like wipe your face, don't cry, don't let no tear fall from your face.
Yeah,
you know. So every morning before school, my mom let him see sweat. So me being someone who has been told that all my life, don't show any emotions. Put on a smile. Keep going. You got it. You'll be alright. Yeah, you hurt. Oh well. Get up, dust your knee off. You be alright. Like I've been taught that. So as far as like relationships, I don't show emotions because I wasn't taught how to show emotions. I was always told, don't cry. We don't have
right.
time for this. So it's definitely something that's being taught, but now that I am older and I recognize it, I'm just like, y'all probably could have been a little bit more affectionate with us and allowed us to express our feelings a little more, especially like with my dad, being that I'm a female, express to like my boyfriend, I'm having a problem. Like especially when we first got together. Um I can definitely see the growth from now and then, but I was struggling. He used to be like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Like, how am I more emotional than you?" But it's just because me and my dad, we didn't express like I didn't to my dad because it's just something that we didn't do.
Right.
And as little girls, they need their fathers to be able to express themselves. That's their first man. So however the relationship is with their dad, then it creates a lot of daddy issues years later. But even if you do have daddy issues, it's like you kind of need to locate that inner child and get to working on it and healing it. Because once you get to a certain age, you're supposed to know better.
But you know what? I think a lot of people may not even know that it's a problem until something like, because like what happens when you get to a certain age where people are letting you know what it is and you don't believe that that's the problem, or like what happens if you get to the point where it's like you don't want to change, just like somebody will just accept me for who I am. I think people get into that habit to where they either find out in the terms of quote unquote when it's too late, or they get this thing to where it's like, well, it's not me, it's other people who haven't, who are not able to tolerate who I am as a person, or who I am and who I'm becoming to be. And I feel like with me, my problem was, me and my mom would used to get into it real bad, and fussing and cussing and back and forth real bad, and there was a lot of rebelling at certain ages when I was smaller and even into my adolescent years. But I think it was because of I had so much anger. It was things I was so upset about. It was living arrangements, not even just living arrangements, but just where I was with seeing all my friends have this and have that, and it was almost like, man, these are things that I always want to have, and it was like, man, I just gotta work a little bit more harder to even be on the same level as them, because hell, Christmas don't come so hard in our household like theirs. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
I see them get the type of love they get from their parents. Just like, dang, I kind of wish I had that. And it's not only that it's not that I envy them. It's like, dang, like I would want to have something like that. So I think that what happens when people figure that, oh, so this is my inner child, this is what I result to. Like this is what I like. I go after. Like for me, I have mommy issues. Like and I say mommy issues as far as like me and my mom never really didn't see eye to eye. There were certain things that I would want my mom to do that I felt like a mom should do, and we didn't see eye to eye as far as being affectionate or being there for me. So I looked for what I felt was love. I looked for it in my relationships.
Mhm.
I was trying to find a certain type of love that I wasn't getting, and trying to replace it with the love I wanted from my mom, knowing that a mom's love is different from a companion's love or somebody in a relationship. And I had to find it out the hard way, because when you're looking for love, you will find it, but it may not be the love that you may think that you're looking for, because we all have different definitions of love. And I feel like, with that being said, with the relationship with me and my mom, how it got from screaming and yelling and not being able to come to her when I'm hurt or I'm going through things that kind of make you feel as though you're an outcast in your own household. But then I had to also learn that my mom was dealing with other things apart from just being a mom. Moms are also are people as well that deal with other things besides just being a mom. But
Mhm.
when you're younger, all you see your mom through is one lens.
Yeah.
As you get older, you have to realize, like, okay, how did my mom grow up? Did her
Mhm.
mom, like how she treated me? Is this a cycle because it's all she knows? Does she suffer from some type of mental illness? And why did she do like this? Did she have daddy issues? Is this why she feels the way she does? Does she have a mental illness or disorder? And when you start putting all those things together, it makes you realize, like, this is why the person is the person that they are. They have an inner child that they haven't come to terms with. They probably have these different like things that they're still battling, and they might not have came to peace with it. But when you're young, you're not thinking that. like in depth, you're like, damn, mommy be tripping again. Why we gotta keep,
Yeah,
you feel me?
like
So
why she steady yelling at me
exactly,
for forgetting to take the trash out. I'm so
exactly.
sorry.
Exactly. I'm just thinking like, bro, it's one sock in the living room. I swear the house not dirty, but it just gets to the point where it's like, do you? It gets sometimes some people have different perspectives on certain things because we take that as okay, that's just how mama is. But some people might feel is that's verbal abuse or that's not a healthy relationship. But understanding that this is how we grew up and this is what we get used to understanding how is this normal? Is this supposed to be the normal way of how we communicate? Because I would hate for this to be a situation where, say, if that was a different person and they weren't really used to something like that, how would they then respond when they're out in the real world? Is this normal for them to talk to their significant other like this? You feel me?
Yeah.
So you really break it down, it's like, wow, these can be toxic traits, but we rose outside of that because we understood that this is something that we normalized, but also rose outside of it because there were love spots there. Like, yeah, we were fussed and cussed out, but there were signs of affection that was shown to let us know, like, okay, there is some type of balance. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our later experiences will have reinforced these beliefs and formed our own script of how our life should be. So we carry these immature scripts and decisions with us into adulthood, and when they run, and then they will run our lives more than like 90% of the time. So, say if you grow up and you've been a thief, you've been a hothead, you've always gotten in trouble and stuff like that, and the consequences that have gotten you where you've gotten probably like you went to like a juvenile detention center or you went to alternative school because of your behavior, you went in and out of trouble with the police and stuff like that growing up. If those consequences hit you and you don't learn from knowing that, hey, if I don't act better, this is going to continue to happen because I'm not going to act better, you will continue to script your own script of would be continue to be what you have carried into your adult life. So if you've learned that, hey, I can steal and whatever the consequences is, if I just get caught, I'll gamble on this. Then you're going to continue to have that into your adult life. Does that make sense?
No, listen, preaching to the choir right now, boy. um, I see it happening daily around me. I kind of like just had this conversation, like with my brother and also my boyfriend as well. Just by like, it's first off, I just want to say like it's never too late to like or to figure out like what's what. Um, I think the only negative about the inner child is not ever like coming to terms with it. But I feel like if you hit your head like enough times, like eventually something gonna go ding. Like, okay, I don't know what's happening. I don't want to keep hitting my head because it hurts. Like, especially
Right.
if you keep going through the same consequences. Like, you are you in and out of like you switch schools, you go into alternative schools, you end up going to JDC, and then guess what? You about to be 18, you 17, you do something, and this time you not going to JDC.
Yeah, the consequences.
Yeah, they sending you up the road. So I mean, you might find out a little bit later and realize, okay, like maybe I should have did things like, you know. Um, my brother, I was just talking to him about this because he was just telling me, like, at a certain point, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and not like coming to terms with it. And you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're expecting the same, like expecting a different result, yet you're getting the same result. He's like, that's signs of insanity. Like, you got to come to terms with it because if not, you just gonna keep hurting yourself. But you can only come to terms with something, and you can only come to terms with something with being like very honest with yourself and holding yourself accountable and taking the responsibility.
Exactly. And when a lot of stuff for me in my life hit the fan, like when I had my first kid, and life turned different for me, because it was in high school and I was going to college, and like that's when a lot of things changed for me because I was like, you either gonna become a man now or life gonna make you a man, and I had no
Mm-hmm.
choice. My back was against the wall, and it was like, dang. my family's still in poverty. I'm still trying to make sure that we get out the hood and become rich, because that's, that's our dream, to make sure that we can take care of our family in the most glorious fashion, and doing that through ball was going to be the best way for me, especially when you have a talent and you feel like you can go all the way. It's almost like it's perfect sense. And I felt like, me becoming a dad was also a way of a wake up call to understand that, look, if you don't want to do it for yourself and you feel like you want to give up, you also have somebody that's going to look up to you and be like, okay, I need the recipe of how to make it, because you want to give them the best recipe. But also, even when I got in trouble at USF, with that situation, me getting a credit card and using it for food is like, that's like a jit move. That's like what a kid would do. And understanding that I used to get away with a lot of things, not saying I was like a scammer or that I used to steal a lot or anything, but when I was, yeah,
You
even when I
surviving.
was, yeah, like even when I was younger, I used to do like stuff like that. We used to go in the store, take stuff, like, I used to have certain people like help me out with certain things, and it got to the point where I got complacent with feeling like stuff was going to always just be not handed to me, but I always felt like, well, this ain't one time won't hurt, one time won't hurt. You feel me? And growing up like in the hood and stuff like that, we did all those things. The home invasions, we did the robbing and stuff like that, and knowing that if you carry some of that stuff into your adulthood, even if you don't do it on a daily, weekly, or bi-weekly basis, and if it's still instilled in you, and you don't have that consequence that gets to you to the point where it's like, bro, this is the last time you're gonna do this, because you know what can happen to you if you potentially do it again. And what happened to me was, I thought I could get away with something that was to me small. It was minute to me. Like, I didn't think that it was going to be as big as what it was before, because I never got in major trouble from doing something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the pros definitely outweighed the cons, but I thought that I could get away with something that wasn't going to be getting away with. I had to deal with a consequence that changed the rest of my life. Now, I got kicked off the football team. I ended up facing 2 charges. I went to jail. I was trying to figure out where I'm gonna be able to play football at, because I still got to be able to make sure my family taken care of. I'm in Florida, and it's like, wow, season coming up. I'm getting kicked out of off the football team a couple weeks before campus. Like, what are you going to do? And I ended up having to find a way to go to figure a way to how I'm going to play football, where I'm going to go to school at. And I ended up hitting my friend up and asking. He ended up hitting me up, asking me, yeah, like, hey, bro, I heard what happened with you. Same thing happened to, I just got in trouble by my school, but I'm finna transfer over to this school. Let's go there. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this whole story, because it's kind of interesting. So, he put me on with his coach. I call the coach. He like, hey, we finna go ahead. Hey, I heard about what's going on. So tell me what happened. I told him what happened. He was like, I hope you just telling me the truth. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely telling you the truth. He's like, all right, cool. She's like, I'm gonna hit you back. I'm gonna call your previous coaches, and we're gonna see what we can do for you. So I ended up trying to, I'm still trying to get into contact with my coach on getting back on the football team at USF, but it was a no-go. He wasn't trying to talk to me or nothing like that. I was the third football player of that month. The last 2 months that I got in trouble, so it was a no-go. And you gone. And they were telling me that if we found out that you stole the card, you're going to be kicked off the football team. Lo and behold, I had found the card, and I was supposed to return it that day. But the day when I found the card, in an apartment complex, the front office was closed. So I ended up going to say, hey, I'm just going to keep the card and bring it back tomorrow, because it's finals week and I'll be back in the area anyways to do my study group. So I ended up paying for some tickets. The tickets was about like $300-$400. I always kept getting in trouble with parking tickets, speeding tickets, all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent like $400, and I was like, man, I don't want to end up spending my own money no more, because I spent all that money on these tickets and stuff like that. So I ended up using the card. And when I used the card, the lady was like, she was like, hey, your card is she was like, hey, the card didn't go through. Can I use it one more time? Basically, what it said was that if this card is being used and you see it being used, confiscate the card and call the authorities immediately, because it was reported stolen, which I did not know, but I used it like a dummy. And she went in the back. She asked me for the card again, and she went in the back and was like, hey, I got to use the register in the back because I'm not working right here. basically, long story short, I already knew what was going on. She called the police. The police came. They asked me why I did it. I told them, like, yeah, I just did it because of X, Y, Z. I was like, are you coming with us? And they were just like, yeah, you shouldn't have did that. You seem like a smart dude, blah, blah, blah. Everything went to hell. After that, names everywhere, news, all that jazz. And the coach from my school, the school that I was supposed to be going to, they ended up calling me back like, yeah, we got a spot for you. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get you situated to come up there. Then my good teammate from USF gave me the an attorney phone number, and I was able to get the attorney phone number. They helped me out with everything, and I tried to call the dude. Card it was. He was so spooked. I'm like, relax. I'm just trying to call you to see if you can put in a good word for me to get back on the football team because I'm not trying to lose everything, right now. I know it was a mistake. He was like, how do you get my information? I'm like, just don't worry about it. I'm just trying to get my stuff back and try to get stuff situated. He's like, anybody can help. I just really wanted my card back. I'm not trying to press no charges or nothing like that. I was just so upset. So, he couldn't really help, but he did go down to try to get the charges lifted, and he didn't want to press any charges. And I'm telling my attorney, I called her. She was like, "It's gonna be $1,500 per charge." I had 2 charges, so I was tripping out. Like, how much can I give you right now? And she was like, "Well, how much do you have?" I was like, "I can give you 200 right now, and I can see how much I can have before, in a couple weeks or whatever." She's like, "Okay, that's cool." $200. I'm stressing out. So I'm like, man, I'm probably finna go to jail, and I gotta pay this attorney. I ain't gonna be able to go to school, bro. Camp started in like 2 weeks, so I'm like, man, I'm messed up. So the coach from the other school in Oklahoma ended up calling me back, said we got a spot for you. So it was like, I was telling him, hey, I got a car and I got all my stuff. Can I just go ahead and drive up there with my teammate? He was like, yeah, go ahead and bring a teammate up here. So we loaded. I'm like, good. This is the break I needed. I called my attorney. I'm like, hey, look, this is what's going on. Can I go ahead and leave the state to go to school? Like, she like, yeah, you guys. My attorney was like, yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna go to court for you. You good? Go ahead. If you got a call to go ahead and do it, go ahead and do your thing there. I'm like, bet. So, I'm happy. I'm like, dang, I'm happy. I'm happy. And mind you, when all this stuff was going on, bro, the city was chewing me out. Like, I'm like looking on this. I'm seeing
That's what
people
they
share
do.
it.
That's what they
People
do.
share it. People was like, oh, this dude a fool. Like, man, you should have seen the comments in the articles. But, like that got me to the point where it's like, man, like, I'm really like dumb. Like, I'm too old to be making mistakes like this. Like, it really was no excuse. So I just took it on the chin. Like, hey, it's what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna just maybe eat their words. Like, people who making fun of me now, I'm like, look, y'all gonna feel me. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but y'all gonna feel me. So I finally ended up packing all my stuff up, and I drove all the way to Atlanta. Me and my teammate, we put all our money together, man. All our money to drive all the way up there. And we didn't really have much, but we drive to Atlanta. We spend the night with these people, and they tell us, hey, you can come. They tell us, hey, we stayed in Atlanta for like a couple of days working out and stuff. And the dude was like, the coach was like, I asked the coach, I called the coach, I'm like, hey, you sure need to sign nothing before I come? He's like, no, you family. I done took care of your teammate for since he been in school. I went to school with his dad. They like family. He like family. You family. He family. It's all good. I'm like, bet. And in the situation I'm in, I'm like, man, this can't get no better. I mean, this can't get no better. So we drive to Atlanta, we chilling, we vibing. I'm cooking for them and all that jazz. We all in there vibed up. And then he tell us, hey, y'all can come tomorrow up to the school. So we drive from Atlanta to Oklahoma in one day. As soon as I get there, the first thing the dude tell me is, hey, we ain't got no scholarship for you. We ain't got no money for you. I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, I gotta pay almost $3,000 for an attorney. I'm probably finna go to jail. I done used all my money to get all the way up. I'm talking about we cutting double cheeseburgers from McDonald's in half to eat. Like, you feel me? Like, we spending dumb money on our gas, all that. So I'm tripping out. Dude talking about some, we got another school that we can send you to. I'm like, nah, y'all pay for this. He like, look, man, you come stay at my crib if you ain't got nowhere to stay. I'm like, of course I got nowhere to stay. I ain't from Oklahoma. So I'm like, look, you're afraid
What
of
part
too.
of Oklahoma you was in?
I was at UCO, Central Oklahoma, admin, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I got a lot of family in Oklahoma. I lived in Oklahoma for a little bit, so that's why I was wondering.
So look, so I get there, and I told him, he was like, I get to the crib, he get us some food. I call the head coach. The head coach say, look, I don't know nothing about you coming up here. As much as we know, we didn't even know if your charges were dropping or anything like that. So with that being said, we ain't even give you no scholarship because we didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, so what's coming up here? He's like, yeah, as far as I know, the coach that was recruiting your teammate, he the one told us that he was coming up. Who was the uncle? I didn't even know he was coming. So I'm like, wow. So I go talk to the coach because I was staying at the other coach's crib. I'm just calling Coach T, just for the sake of the story, because I don't want to put anybody's names out there. So I go back to Coach T house, and we had his crib. He like, hey, you can always go stay in the dorms with the other teammates. I'm like, nah, you brought me out here. You put me in this situation. I'm finna sleep in on your couch. I'm gonna eat at your fridge. I'm gonna shit in your toilet. I'm gonna shower in your shower. Like this is what it is, bro. You gotta deal with me while I'm up here, son. And you gotta finance my all my stuff up here, man. Cause I say if y'all ain't gonna find me no scholarship, it's come out of your check or his check. So I go meet with the head coach. Come to find out he couldn't do nothing for me. I called USF to try to get my year back. All the transfer rules deemed me that I couldn't play football in the NCAA. So I had to go to a school in Kansas, called them as a private school. Hopefully I could have got in. They made sure I got in. I had to move out of the UCO school because they were trying to call the police on us because we were staying there too long, they said. And come to find out, my teammate that I rode up there with got kicked off the football team because he didn't have his proper equipment, and he was trying to ask everybody to help him out. They didn't really help him out. So he ended up walking in the football field and walked back in the locker room because they didn't help him with his equipment. And he walked in the locker room and they said, well, as soon as you left the football field, that's when you left the team. So they said, we got like 24 hours to get off the campus. And we've created in 24 hours, he ended up getting his a call to go back to Atlanta to play football, and I had to go to Kansas to play football. So we got out of there, and that's the reason I'm in Kansas. So that just had to show, like, I had to keep on like going because it was no way I could have went back there. And what's crazy? A week later, I got a phone call saying that my charges was dropped and that my charges was dropped and that my stuff was waived. Like for me to pay them $3,000 per charge, like for the charges for the attorney, she waived it.
Wow, blessings.
Like yeah, so like people always ask me why I go to why I'm in Kansas. I always laugh because that's the story.
A long ass story.
Long ass. Yeah,
but you
that's
persevered, and it shows that you're resilient. So
yeah, it's crazy. And then like I feel like with not revisiting the experiences in our childhood to explain why our script is the way it is, this will result in our playing out of some of the same unexamined script and drama over and over again. So sometimes it's hard to do this because your parents don't be wanting to go there or take accountability, or they may feel like you're insulting their intelligence. So certain things that you may feel as though you may want to ask your parents about why they do the things that they do, they may feel as though it's none of your business because you're not an equal,
mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like you want to just have those conversations with them so you can be more in tune with why they are the way they are, so you can be able to help the relationship about what's going on. Because I feel like a lot of times we want to ask questions to just educate ourselves with why things are the way they are, but those questions may seem as a form of disrespect. So
Yeah, I can talk to my mom like about certain stuff that happened like as a child, and she'll get in her feelings about it. It's like, lady, it's not about you right now. It's about me. And then my dad, I can't honestly, like, there's like really no communication there. He's in my life though, but it's strange. I just had to learn from his mom and his dad on where they were at during his childhood and why he's the way he is. So because I understand how he grew up is completely different from how I grew up. It it makes me sympathize with him. I think that's the right word. Empathize, sympathize, empathize. It's one of those words. Empathize. So I can kind of understand like why he's the way he is, and I just know it affects me. But I know like, okay, whoever I have a kid with, like, I need them to be able to communicate, especially if we have a daughter. Like I need you. I need that because I didn't get that, and I had to teach myself a few things. So therefore, yeah, like I got it. Luckily, this fool who I'm with, I don't feel like I'm leaving. I'll probably end up marrying him. Come to my wedding. We're gonna have a bar and everything. But
I'm there with the nonsense.
listen, me in there turn it up, okay? Because if I ever get married, listen, I really love this person because I didn't even believe in marriage at one point. But But like, luckily, the person who I'm with, like, they communicate very well.
Right.
Very well, more better than me, and I'm the female, and that's rare because typically the female communicates well, and the male, they kind of they don't be with it for the
Yeah.
most part. But luckily, like, he communicates well, so I'm like, I should be all right. And yeah, like, it's just the parents don't be wanting to like take responsibility sometimes, but it's okay. It's just like I didn't know any better because your parents only knew what they knew, and their parents only knew what they knew. And honestly, my mom mom was probably fresh off of the slave ship. Not fresh off, but you know what I'm saying. It wasn't too far back to where there was slavery going on, so they was always getting told what to do. And like, their parents told them what to do. So it's just a cycle of not communicating, going back to like what you said with the mental health thing. Like, mental health, then they it wasn't no such thing as mental health. Psychology is still very a fresh study. i,
Exactly.
I think, especially, I think our generation, the millennials, some of us are like we're very sensitive, but we are very in tune with ourselves, and we do like to have the conversations. That's why you see all these freaking think pieces everywhere.
Exactly. And just think about like how people were trying to silence these deeper longings from like these deep traumas or these deep inner childs or these memories. They'll try to silence it with alcohol or drugs or even different things as far as gambling, overspending, overeating, workaholism, even self-harming. And there's other ways that people try to avoid the real and deeper things that they need to have and have attention towards. And sometimes we are kids that still are in grown-ups body that want those different attention, understanding, and care and support. So like there are different like experiences that are logged into our subconscious mind and our body, and then this pull resides our self-esteem, our body image, family trauma, there's shame, and there's even secrets if we haven't like are the things that we haven't even spoken about, as though all affect the quality of our care and our caregivers and are able to show us. So we may sing into this when we feel overwhelmed. So you know how when you feel overwhelmed, what? Yeah, I just feel like
Deep.
these. It is because I feel like it's things where we feel as though when we get overwhelmed, we may look at things through another lens or a certain lens, and it's almost to the point where these different memories get logged into our body to make us feel as though, like, say if you do me wrong, it's like, oh yeah, you just like my dad who did me wrong, or say if you broke my heart, it's like, oh, you just like my first ex, or or it's like, say if you even played a sport and you try to transfer from one school to another to try to get a better opportunity, it's like, oh, it's just this all over again. Or people continue to give you jokes about something that you've already heard over and over again. It's like, oh, here it goes again. So it almost brings back a flashback every time you hear these situations occur in a similar fashion. So I think it can overwhelm a lot of us. So these can be signs that your inner child is wounded, and it could be from low self-esteem, poor body image, mood, and even emotional imbalances with problems with boundaries. For an example, so say if I have a problem with boundaries, it can be to a point where it's like maybe because I may feel like insecure about certain things because of what had happened to me when I was little. And a lot of people, these things carry on from their childhood to when they get older because they haven't been able to deal with them in a certain fashion. And I feel like it'd be very toxic because those things that you carry from your childhood to your adulthood is not, you don't just carry it into your adulthood, you carry it to your workplace, you carry it into your relationship with your companion, and it may be hard for you to stay in a relationship because of these things that you don't even notice in a relate that you don't notice that you do in these relationships. They may not even be like something that you're in tune with. So that's what make it a danger to yourself or to anyone else, because you're the toxic one, but you don't even have that lens to look at yourself to understand that you are the person that's being toxic.
Wow, preach to him, AD, preach to him, because I really hate, and hate's a very strong word, and I'm saying it a lot, but it's because I'm serious. Like, I hate when I see people like, oh, I don't got no friends because all of them turned on me. Okay, you're the common denominator.
Yo.
You're the common denominator, or is how to get rid of toxic vibes. But nigga, you are the toxic vibe. Sometimes you are the toxic vibe yourself. So that's like you have to really dig deep, look in the mirror, and I feel like the way to heal your inner child is accountability, man, and
But
responsibility.
no, on another thing is like I have these friends from Arizona. They my good friends. They're like brothers to me, you know, and I feel as though like if you don't have friends that hold you accountable to what's going on and they speak up on the behalf of you having negative behavior or certain behavior, then you really don't have friends. And like I have friends that we call each other out on certain things, you know, whether it's a joke or whether it's even something serious. And if you can be accountable to taking on that criticism and also being accountable of seeing what they're doing wrong and then letting them know about it and not letting it just be swept under the rug, then those are dope people because you need those people to be able to let you know, like, bro, this is not the right thing to do. And then it's even, you know, what's even more dope is that fact that when they know call them out on it, they're still able to have a vulnerable space to come back to you guys and be like, okay, I'm still able to want to talk to you guys about making better decision makings, and I'm not just going to shy away from not being there because you guys called me out once upon a time. You know, so I feel.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and there is a difference between someone holding you accountable and someone just being nasty
Mm-hmm.
and saying and slick dissing. Like there is a it's a very thin line. So just
No,
be
for sure.
aware of the signs. Like someone who's always saying, "Oh, you ain't gonna do this. You don't never got this." Da 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 da. Like that's slick dissing. That is
Mm-hmm.
not holding you accountable. Someone say I'm like I fuck up in some type of way, and then it's just like, okay, so what happened? I let you know, and then you're like, okay, so what did you do? And then I let them know, and then they're like, okay, well maybe you could have went about it this way. That's holding someone accountable.
Exactly.
It's
It's all about your approach. It's about your approach though, because some people can feel like you're attacking them, but you always have to have that tone. And sometimes it's about knowing who you're dealing with what's going on. Because me, like, I have to come at certain people a certain way to let them to grab their attention with letting them be there. Because I deal with, you know, adolescent females on a daily basis from age 8 all the way to 18. So I know like sometimes my approach has to be spot on because I could trigger someone into thinking that I'm attacking them when I literally am trying to educate them and let them make better decisions. So a part of the battle is letting them understand what the problem is and teaching them a better way to go about it. So, and also what even helps is that them being one with their inner child will help heal their wounded inner child. So doing this is by understanding the needs of the inner child, and this is basically by being true to their self and knowing that they're actually wrong, or knowing that hey, this is a reoccurring pattern. Maybe I need to listen, or maybe I know that this person has good intentions, or maybe I can genuinely just know that hey, it is me. You know, so I think that's the beautiful thing about knowing how to take the proper approach and how to properly take in constructive criticism. And I feel like when you have healed your inner child, you can start to heal and then elevate. You know, when you elevate on certain things, you don't even it doesn't even bother you anymore. And I think that's something that you guys said. You enter a state of euphoria and become oblivious to things that once triggered you. It's almost like you literally like, hey, I remember when I used to throw temper tantrums of having to go to bed early. Now it's like, oh, I go to bed early, or I used to throw temper tantrums of having to take a nap when I was little.
hmm
Man, like now it's like, boy, nap time.
Bro,
Man,
I
let's
love
get
nap time.
it. So I think that's a beautiful thing that I remember you writing down in the notes is that, you know, being able to heal and elevate and putting things truly behind you, because once you can close a chapter and open up another one, it just shows growth. I think
Yeah,
it's growth.
and like one way you can heal like your inner child. If you didn't get hugged a lot, hug yourself. Start hugging yourself. If someone wasn't telling you that they didn't love you enough, look in the mirror and tell yourself you fucking love you. Like because sometimes our parents or the people who did hurt us to cause us to go through a traumatic event, we may not ever hear, yo, I'm sorry. You just not gonna get it. Like realistically, like nine
Yeah,
times out of ten, because they're not people aren't ready to have the conversation, so they're like, what, I ain't do nothing, I like they don't want to take accountability for it, so you're never going to hear that. So sometimes you might just gotta like forgive yourself and as well as forgive the person so that way you can heal yourself. Because if not, you're gonna be angry, you're gonna be bitter.
Right.
And
You
when you bitter, ain't nothing good gonna come to you. You're gonna miss out on all your blessings.
you know what's
So
you know what's even worse though, like when you forgive the person but not their action, and then you continuously hinder other people because of the action that you didn't get over. You constantly be able to put other people down because you're still holding on to how to properly defend yourself. Like you learned from how that action hurt you, so it's like now I want to protect myself. So now I'm going to put other people in situations where, not put them in situations, but you're literally in a place where it's like I'm not gonna let this person be able to do what that person did to me, even though I forgave them for being them, but not the action. Now it's to the point where it's like I'm gonna be extra with them so that they don't do the same thing to me. So it's like, are you literally past what happened to you, or are you just being cautious so that it doesn't happen again? Everything is you know.
you're definitely not over it. Like if you have to like constantly continue to remind like the person, for example, they cheated, you're not over it. At this point, you just need to pack up and leave. But when you do pack up and leave and you go into your next relationship, you need to work on the past first and heal from the past before you can move forward, because then you're
Yeah,
going to be carrying that same toxic behavior going into your next relationship.
you're gonna be a bag lady
Exactly. And don't nobody want to be a bag lady.
for sure.
Release your bags. Like, it ain't even that serious. But
Fall in love with yourself first before you do it to anybody else. And age does not mark maturity; experience does. Experiences you go through, the more things you learn to say what's right and what's wrong. So,
mm-hmm. So
yeah,
yeah, and ultimately you wanna reach that euphoric state. I mean, everything might not be peaches and cream, but like I have had moments where I have felt like I was in a euphoric state, and I literally felt like I was floating,
mm,
just floating around. You could tell it was a difference. My skin was glowing, my nails was growing, my bank account was growing, credit score was going up. It's just like every time I stepped out the house, I ended up getting free shit. I was getting my Chick-fil-A free. Like, listen, I love Chick-fil-A. So the fact that my Chick-fil-A was free, like, it was just, I don't know. It just felt like when I was good mentally and I was making peace with my inner child, it's just like positive things started gravitating towards me. So
right.
because I was vibrating on a higher frequency, like I didn't even notice the other stuff that was going on, or you know it would be simple things like, oh, well, that's not really simple, but like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my car note, but I'm good mentally. I'm
Yeah,
I'm good. All things work for good. I vibrate high. Like I'm for the good, so everything's gonna work out good anyways. So which it always works out. But I just because I was good within myself, I knew everything was gonna work out. And then everything just started to like blossom, to say the
exactly.
least.
You were looking through things through a different lens, and I think that's what people we need to keep into perspective is that we should gravitate towards positive emotions and understanding that staying in tune with ourselves and being in tune with ourselves and looking for answers within ourselves and not through other people. Because for one, people can let us down, and sometimes we may look for answers within them, and they may not always have the right cheat sheet. So ooh, hey, hey, hey. No, but for real, you may look for people and they had the right cheat sheet. And I think that's a lot of the problems that we have within the day is understanding that we may feel as though this person is supposed to right our wrongs for what we have went through previously. So you may think that's your knight in shining armor, but it may not always be that person. It's not their
You
it's
need to
not
right
their
your own
jurisdiction.
wrongs.
No, but for real, it's not their jurisdiction to right your wrongs. Like you feel what I'm saying. Whatever you went through, it's not their prerogative to like be like, hey, look, let me fix this. It's not. So you can't blame that
Hmm.
person not catering to your happiness. Your happiness is supposed to be generated through you, not through them. They're supposed to add to it, not subtract or make it. You have to make your own happiness, and once you
That
look
is
at it
so
through that,
real.
when you look at it through that lens, you'll be better off because that's how I am.
That
So
that is so real. I was actually talking to my boyfriend today, and he was like, like he was like, I love myself. And I was like, what? And at first I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because he's wild, man. He's wild. And he was just like, man, I love myself. I respect myself, like, to the highest degree. And he was like, because I do that, that's why I'm able to love and respect you so much the way I do. And I was just like, oh, I
Yeah,
see. And he
that's
was like, for real. He was like, that, if you don't love yourself, how the fuck you gonna love somebody else? Like, he's like, that shit is for real. Like, you ain't happy within, ain't nobody gonna make you happy. And he's
that's
like,
really better than anybody.
exactly. He's like, I can't make you happy. Your happiness, that's up to you. He's like, I can bring you the moon, the stars, unicorns if you want them, but if you're not happy, nothing that I do will make you happy.
Exactly.
So
So
just
yeah, that's a lot. I think that's real dope. But we can go ahead and just wrap this thing up because I feel like we can go ahead and talk for the rest of the night. But you
we
know,
will, you know us.
I won't die. But I really appreciate you for talking about this great topic because I think I learned a lot of things from this. I wasn't even too sure about what an inner child was, but I think after having this conversation with you, it gave me a better lens to be able to look into what an inner child is and how I can help myself heal my inner child. And I think it's dope that I actually am with my inner child day in and day out, and I didn't even know that it was there. So I think this
Mm-hmm.
other people with if they knew what inner child was, they would give them a different lens to look out of to let them understand that hey, this is something I can do for myself and to help others if they are struggling with their inner child or things that they haven't get over. So I thank you for doing this and helping me out with this. It's pretty dope.
No problem. I guess I will see you guys the next time we want to have a deep conversation again.
So, so I also want to let you guys know, be on the lookout. I have some shirts coming out soon. You guys will then be able to purchase Conscious Gym shirts soon, very soon. Also have some good announcements, some big announcements coming soon. But I'm gonna let you go with two of them. I have shirts coming out soon. You guys will be able to purchase off of my website. That'll then be coming soon. So those are two big announcements that I'm announcing right now to let you guys know and be on the lookout for. And prices and pre-sales will be coming soon. So guys, be on the lookout for that. Dope things are coming in the works.
Liddy.
All right. So yeah, again, you guys can contact me at Adrian Palmore 19 at gmail.com. That is my email. Again, that's Adrian Palmore 19 at gmail.com. My Instagram is AD underscore Palmore. Again, it's AD underscore Palmore. My Twitter is Adrian P underscore MM. So yeah, you got anything you want to say? Talk.
Oh yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at topword underscore, and my Instagram is actually the same, topword underscore, TOT word underscore.